Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Wake and Bake podcast. It's me, Quentin. I'm a Charger fan, and this is...
Pete, San Diego Patriots fan.
He's a San Diego Patriots fan. That's right, you heard it, people. I know the Patriots have sucked horribly the last few years, but there's still a fan or two out there.
This is our year. I don't know if you know this.
Hey, I may not get to say that again, like ever again, with Vrabel being good, you know?
For the next 15
I got to
years.
take my shot while I can.
You missed your window of winning a championship.
Because I don't think Vrabel... I'm pretty sure the Patriots are going to get back to their winning ways with Vrabel. I really do. Not because I like the Patriots, but I believe in Vrabel. I'll be shocked. That would be like shocking. So shocking to me.
I mean, the grumpy, self-loathing New Englanders, they won't admit that they all think it's going to be better this year. Everyone's still like, 6 wins, 8 wins is all.
You said that the Patriots fans aren't as fired up as you think they should be, right?
Well, no, we can't outwardly be fired up.
You
Inwardly.
You can't outwardly get fired up?
Like, in our own mind, we all feel like we're going to win 12 games again.
Yeah.
But nobody can say that.
I mean, I know how that is. That's the way we felt last year, you know. Chargers fans.
Like, if we say it, then we're definitely only winning 5 games.
I don't. That's actually a nice little tangent right there. Win records. I don't think we've done that in the podcast. Right?
What?
How many wins we think the team can get?
Oh, our predictions? I mean, we had to at least wait till the roster till we got through like the spring.
I mean, we talked about like the season, like the schedule release.
Yeah.
But how many wins do we think our teams can amass, you know? I don't think we ever tackled that question specifically.
No, we have not. We haven't committed to anything.
Well, Daniel Popper, who's, I think, the Chargers' best beat writer. Oh, by the way, if you like the podcast, like and subscribe, okay? Do that. Some of these guys, I was watching a podcast, like yesterday, and they do it like every 5 minutes. And they don't just spend a little bit of time on it.
Really?
Dude.
I would never listen to that.
They spend minutes. Yeah, I turned it off after he went in.
If you spend 40% of the time just
like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like
or running ads or whatever. Like the whole reason I listen to a podcast is not to.
So yeah, I don't want. I think the guilty as charged guys do it about as good as they can, as good as you can do it. I think they do maybe 2 plugs during an hour podcast. They'll do like, because they actually got sponsored by Prize Picks.
Yeah, like once you get sponsored and do reads and whatnot. Like,
so they got to do those plugs, you know.
That's fine. Do that.
But it's good. They get in there, they get out. It's quick and easy. They make their plug, fine. And you know what? I'll just say his name. His name's Matty Dubs. He does these like cut ups. His whole shtick is doing these kind of little cut ups of film. I think he does like all the teams though in the NFL. It's just all he does. It's cut ups of like the whole NFL. And so he'll do these cut-ups of the Chargers. And the cut-ups themselves they're okay. They're not bad. But dude, like half the fucking podcast is like, if you like what we're doing here, like and subscribe. Like, he goes into a whole fucking 5-minute fucking rant. Not a 1-minute rant. Like a 5-minute rant. And it's like, dude, this is like the whole podcast. And then he'll give you one more little nugget. And then the nugget of info usually is not something like, if you're a pretty serious fan of any team, you're just like, I fucking knew that. Like, you didn't give me anything new here, dude. So anyway, I don't know. Got a thin skin for Matty Dubs. He's never gonna see this, so he's not gonna be able to call me out and talk shit. But
hey, if he does,
but
we're
if he does, that's great. That's one of those like all news is good news, right? Like, attract attention. Let's start a beef.
I mean, also maybe he knows a thing or two about marketing. We certainly don't know anything about marketing,
right? So. Let's start a podcast beef between us and Matty Dubs. The kid has like 92,000 subscribers somehow. Okay, so I can't argue with his results. Actually, like, I think he's doing this full time. He's actually making a living as a young 20-something doing horrible cut-ups. Okay, I said they're horrible. They're not horrible, but I don't know. Wasting your time on them is arguable, at best. I think it's more clickbait than anything, really. It's definitely clickbait because he always gives it like some freaking crazy headline that makes you go, okay, I gotta watch this.
Right.
And then it's like, no, nothing to see here, really. Nothing special. Getting back to our teams here. Win-loss record. Popper gave the Chargers 9-8, not making the playoffs.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's kind of a brutal.
As a hometown fan.
Yeah, I know. As the hometown beat writer, and he really does come across kind of as a fan. Like he's rooting for the team. He's also very, very critical about the team, but that's kind of what I like about him. I feel like he's objectively critical. He'll give them flowers when they deserve flowers. But 9-8, not making the playoffs, jeez. And I mean, his position is based upon, like, the Chargers have a much harder. So the big knock on the Chargers last year is, yes, they had a record of 11. They got 11 wins, right?
11-6.
11-6. But they only faced 2 playoff contenders and they won against one.
Right.
Like, they didn't beat playoff teams. They didn't beat good teams. Because, I mean, they played, you play.
You can only play who you're scheduled to play.
Yeah, when you go, and then when you go to the playoffs, you get scheduled against the other playoff teams again the next season.
Right.
So
you're saying because their schedule is significantly tougher this year than it was last year?
Yes.
It feels like that's gonna cost them a few
exactly.
wins.
Yes. Which is, he's not wrong in that rationale. The argument is that if they go 9-8 this season against the competition they have this season, it's still a way better team than the team that went 11.
Okay.
in his mind.
So he's like, I'm not an asshole.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a strong argument. He's got a really strong argument for that. But
It's true. And I appreciate the realist,
yeah,
not the...
but I'm going to push back on it. I definitely think the Chargers are a 10 or 11 win team. And a better team this year. I mean, I think of the 6 division games, I think it's very realistic for the Chargers to take 4 of those. To win 4 of those. So they'll lose 2. I'm not saying that they're going to run the table or anything like that. I don't know who it's going to be. You know what I mean? They're going to have to run the table on one of the teams to go 4 and 6 in the division,
or sweep Vegas and Denver and lose both.
and then lose both to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So some kind of combination.
Also possible.
I don't know. You know, because of you would say, I guess, like they're going to sweep the Raiders, but the Raiders are feisty.
Right. Especially in LA.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this early. Like, to start the season, the table's perfectly set for the Chargers. We get Kansas City first. We get the brand new Pete Carroll Raiders. They're only going to have 1 game under their belt. Game 2. And then we're going to have a tough game against this year's Broncos, which I think they took a step forward. So does every other expert. Like, that team's going to be even better this year.
I mean, you could make the argument that the entire division took a step forward. So,
well, except for maybe the Chiefs.
So something has to give. Well, I mean, but the Chiefs are already...
They already operate at a high level.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So them
They don't take
them plateauing or
yeah,
or even taking a small step back, like, is still
hot. Yeah, they're still the Chiefs.
Still the Chiefs, a Super Bowl contender.
They're still the Super Bowl contending Chiefs. Agreed. But yes, the Raiders and Broncos both took a step forward. I think the Raiders will be better under Carroll.
So I think the Chargers took a step forward too.
Yeah.
But so did everybody else.
So did everybody else. How big was the step forward?
How big was the step for everybody?
I mean, the Chargers swept the Raiders last season, right?
Yeah.
I think we did.
I feel like they must have, without looking it up.
Things are as they're supposed to be. The Chargers sweeping the Raiders. We didn't sweep the Broncos, did we?
No.
Did we?
Maybe.
For some reason, I don't feel like we took an L, though.
Yeah, I think there was some Bo Nix magic at the end of the game, but I think they held it.
I know we beat them in Denver, and we beat them. Yeah, we beat them here. I was at that game. So I think we did. Yeah, we did sweep the Raiders and the Broncos last season. But we lost both our games against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Not by much. So here's the thing. That's going to switch up a little bit, right? We're going to sweep one of the Broncos or the Raiders somehow. Most likely the Raiders. Steal one from the Chiefs. I think we could definitely steal one from the Chiefs. Not even steal one. I think we can take one.
Ooh.
Let me reterm that. We're going to fucking take one from the Chiefs, okay? Because... Oh. So anyway, yeah, I think we're still a 10-11 team against the better competition. I think so. What's your prediction for the Patriots here?
The Patriots are winning 10 games.
Patriots are winning 10 games.
And they're getting a wild card. Or they're missing the wild card by like a game. But they're playing meaningful football in December and January.
Okay, here's an important distinction, Pete. Are they a 10-11 win team or a 9-10 win team? I'll give you a variance of 2 games.
Yeah, on what my floor is.
Yeah.
And more what my ceiling is.
I think that's an important distinction. Like I said, the Chargers are 10 or 11 wins. That's a little different than 9-10 wins.
Yeah.
Right? Or 8-9. But a 2-game window, I think, is a better.
See, so here it is.
Where do you sit there? Where do you sit on
my
that?
Inner self is an 11-win team.
What's that?
That's just what I was saying before. Is my inner self is an 11 or 12-win team.
No.
So
you're firmly in the 10-11 camp.
Yeah, but I can't say that out loud.
You just did.
I know.
You're saying out loud, Pete. Stand firm. Stand proud of your season prediction.
Because
what's that based on?
Obviously, the offense is going to be much better.
Obviously.
The offensive line is going to jump 12 or 15 spots on the, they were dead last in offensive line grades across the board on everything. Run blocking, pass blocking. They were either 31st or 32nd in every stat. And they're going to take like a 15-team jump and be in the middle of the pack on that. And that alone is worth 2 or 3 wins right there. And then the defense is going to be better. The defense was not managed, coached properly last year. They had a lot of injuries too, but so they had too many practice squatters playing defense too. But I think Vrabel's system and the coaches that he brought in are going to make the whole scheme way better. Their run defense and setting the edge, containing was abysmal last year.
Was abysmal?
Yeah.
Well, that's a strong word.
And so there's only one way to go from there too.
It's accurate. True.
Now, how much can they improve in 1 year? I think a lot. I think they brought in some new guys. They got some different personnel, and the different scheme is gonna make the run defense way better.
10 or 11 wins out of the Pats. So what about your division record? What do you think? I think that's a nice little sub breakdown. What's your prediction for your division record? Because that's a big deal.
Right. Sweep the Jets, lose 1 to Miami, and lose 1 to the Bills.
Ooh, you think you can take one from the Bills, huh?
That one, that's obviously the biggest question. That's where
that's a bold prediction there, Bubba.
Inner me is yes, we can take one from the Bills. Whereas outer me, can we really take one from the Bills?
That's the undeniable Pats fan in you. Yeah, we're gonna steal one from the Bills.
We've stolen some over the last few years.
That is a stealing. You are stealing a game from the Bills. Yes.
There was the snow blizzard game 3 years ago in Buffalo.
Right.
Where there was like 40-mile-an-hour winds and a whiteout blizzard.
Old Belichick stole one.
And then, there was last year where against the Bills practice squad when Joe Milton won. Never forget. So, the Bills fans don't even count those games, but, a win is a win.
Okay. So you think the Patriots can go 4-6 in their division? No.
4-2.
4-2? Or 3-3?
I mean, they're definitely going 3-3.
Definitely going
And
3-3.
they can hopefully go 4-2.
Okay. I kind of think the Jets could be sneaky.
They're always sneaky good against the Patriots.
I don't know, dude. The Aaron Glenn. I mean, did we talk about the Aaron Glenn experiment? I read an article on the Jets, and
yeah, I mean, he's going to make a difference just like Vrabel's going to make a difference on his new team,
I think Aaron Glenn could be that sneaky guy that, like, you watch that team be really, really, really feisty. So here's the thing. Everybody knows a Vrabel team's going to be way better. That's expected, right? Like Ben Johnson, everybody expects the Ben Johnson Bears to be, people know about those. Like, watch those teams this year. Even the Pete Carroll Raiders, right? Like, ooh, watch out. They could get dangerous fast. But Aaron Glenn's never been a head coach. I think. Yeah, he's kind of. Are there any other brand new? Well, yeah, there's the Saints. Who's the Jags have a brand new kind of head coach. I think Aaron Glenn's the one to watch out of all those guys.
Yeah,
the new guys.
I mean, I agree. I think he's going to have a significant impact on that team.
Like, it's quiet over there. You know what I'm saying?
It would be a lot of magic because personnel-wise, they're not.
They've got some pieces over there. They've got wideouts.
And they have a solid offensive line, and they have
they've got
good running backs.
I think they even drafted another guy in the O-line, didn't they?
Yeah,
didn't they take Membo?
Yeah, their number one pick was Membo.
Yeah. They already had a pretty good squad, and now they just added Membo. That was kind of like, oh, okay, all right. You really are trying to build the next Detroit.
But, I mean, they took Membo to replace Morgan Moses, who was an above-average right tackle they had last year when they had a good offensive line. So, you can swap that one for one, and you still have a
that's
very
one
good
for one.
offensive line.
And you're hoping he
performs. You didn't use your first-round pick to, improve the team. You just kind of status quo kept it the same.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement.
And I think their defense is not as good as last year. Now Aaron Glenn being a defensive head coach, maybe he fills those holes, but have to see it, I can never say the Jets are going to be good. Are you kidding me?
Watched a podcast called Believe Chargers, and it's Matt Money. Matt Money does a podcast with Lorenzo Neal called Believe in Chargers. It's a whole network. They do like, it's like the Believe podcast, football podcast network. So every team has a Believe and whatever podcast show, weekly podcast show. So Matt Money does his with Lorenzo Neal. And I mean, Lorenzo Neal's, he's fine. I feel like he's a little punchy. They were doing it. They were doing their podcast.
Say it to his face, man.
It's okay. Like, my favorite podcast is Guilty as Charged. What I love about them is Tyler and Steven. They bring like data. Like, they're not just regurgitating headlines. Like, they'll tackle a subject and they'll like do their own they'll generate their own stuff. Like, good stuff too. Like the kind of good stuff that you want to know as a fan. Yeah. So I love that. I love that. They're kind of one of the only podcasts that do that too, by the way. And it's dedicated to the Chargers. So I really can't criticize the job those guys do over there. They are A1. You know what? The Unleashed guys will do that too. And that's my second favorite podcast. They'll do some of that. Dive into good stuff, generate some data and things like that, some unique, and then of course they'll go over the headlines. We're not at that point yet, people. We're kind of regurgitating headlines here. I read a lot of stuff, so at least you can get it all in one place. And I mean, I'll give you a critique on whether it's believable or not. Whether I agree with it or not. But Matt and Lorenzo Neal, Lorenzo Neal went on this tangent yesterday. I think Matt Money was just kind of looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? Actually, Matt Money's so good, like, he's not going to make his co-host look bad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he tried to bring the narrative back, and, like, Lall Neal kept going on this narrative.
Double down on it.
And the narrative was that, like, the Chargers need to trade Quentin Johnson. Like, that he's like a trade candidate right now. And it's just like, the wide receiver room is stacked. And I mean, Lall Neal's point was that, like, because the wide receiver room is kind of stacked, like, maybe you move on this guy.
Yeah.
But then again, like, Quentin Johnson's stock is not that high, dude.
Right. He was a first-round pick, right?
Yeah.
Second round? First?
He's at this point, he's a starter. And then not only that, the Chargers literally came out this week. Sanjay Lall, in his interview, specifically cited that Quentin Johnson is a starter. They consider him as one of their starting lineup receivers. Like,
for the Chargers? Or
yes,
just in the league?
for the Chargers. Or for another team, right?
Like,
yeah.
He's starting caliber in the NFL, just not here.
Like, they don't see him. There was two things that Sanjay Lall was kind of surprisingly strong worded. He was He did not mince words. He was extremely direct. Two things that he said. Ladd McConkey is not a slot receiver, so don't call him one. He actually said that. Ladd McConkey's not a slot receiver. That kid can do everything. We see him as he is a complete wideout. He can do it all. So don't call him a slot receiver. Like, he told the press that.
I mean,
matter of fact, he told the press Ladd doesn't like being called a slot receiver, and he's not.
Well, so that's because the term slot receiver has the connotation of wide receiver 3, in that you have two guys on the outside, and then the third, when you run a 3 receiver set, you have a slot.
I agree.
But when your slot receiver is your best receiver, he's always on the field, and maybe he's not always in the slot, but
agreed.
Like, that's the case of Ladd McConkey right now.
I mean, there's that element.
Like, he's not on the field because there's
and it's
two
also
receivers.
I mean, but it also, I think it has to do with it would be very interesting to me see if like Sanjay Lall, if I could ask him to his face if he would push back on that. Like, if I said, well, yes, he can do it all, and he's amazing at all of it, okay? Goes with that. He can play outside, but where he does his biggest damage and where his strengths are demonstrated is in the slot. That's where he can really hurt defenses the most, because he's so nasty with his routes. He's so good with his hands. He's so damn shifty in the secondary. Like, that's where he's...
Julian Edelman is a slot receiver.
Yeah, exactly, and he was unstoppable.
He was their best receiver for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And he lined up all over the place. He played on the outside sometimes.
Yeah. But he did his best damage in the slot.
Right, but he's still a slot receiver. Like, when you think the name Julian Edelman, you think slot receiver. Like,
so... and then the other thing that Sanjay Lall said was Quentin Johnson's starter. Like, that's one of our best receivers there. It's Ladd. They look at Ladd and QJ. He's kind of inferencing is like Ladd and QJ are our strongest 2 wideouts.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody else is new.
Right.
Jalen Reagor's been here for a year. He hasn't supplanted QJ as the next best option. They feel QJ is probably the next best option outside of Ladd.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's him or Mike Williams, and
then there's Mike Williams, who should be resurgent as Mike Williams.
Yeah.
But until Mike goes out there and does it in a game, QJ is QJ's a starter.
I mean, as an outside fan looking in, I've seen a lot more of the bad QJ than the good QJ. But the same can be said for, I'm also not a fan of Reagor, so...
You're not a fan of Reagor?
Not really.
I mean, yeah, he didn't do anything over there, right?
He didn't do anything anywhere.
It's true.
He's been on a lot of teams.
It's true. He hasn't done anything anywhere. It's true.
You want to talk about first-round picks who never lived up to their potential?
You know what? I had a lot of concerns
QJ
about...
is hoping that he's not Jalen Reagor.
I had a lot of concerns about Darius Davis making the roster. And Sanjay mentioned Darius Davis specifically. And he was like, Darius has made pretty serious improvements in his route running and his hands. And he's like, that guy has Like, if he can get that stuff locked down, he's like, dude, that guy has speed gears. They view him like, he really gave me the impression that, like, they view him like a Tyreek. Like, dude, if he can complete his game, like, dude, he's got this speed element. He's got gears that, like, he's like, there's no ceiling on that.
Yeah.
You know, if he can get the rest of that dialed in, this kid's got speed gears that are just unreal. So, I don't know. It gave me some optimism that they still love Dede. It's still going to be crazy hard for him to make the roster.
But I mean, so the argument to trade QJ is that, yeah, obviously you're not going to get that much for him right now. Maybe, I don't know, 4th, 5th round pick. And he was a first round pick, so you don't like that exchange. You want him to just be better. However, you got a lot of young receivers in there. Maybe QJ's a starter this year, but next year maybe he's barely making the team. So if you can get something out of him this year, like,
exactly.
That's
exactly
like, that's
it.
what it is.
He's on the third. This is the 3rd year of his rookie contract. Yeah. So
otherwise he's just gonna get cut, and like then you get nothing.
So I mean, he has a good year this year. Maybe next year, which would be his 4th year of his rookie deal. You know, we'll see if the Chargers pick up his 5th year option. But that's where you get into this neighborhood of like, well, the rest of our receivers are really fucking good. Maybe we move him and we get a comp pick.
Well,
wait, you got to cut him to get no.
He has to walk in free agency.
He has to walk in. So you wouldn't renew.
Sign a decent contract with somebody.
You wouldn't
else.
renew
If
his
he
5th
signs
year.
Just a minimum, you don't get anything.
You wouldn't renew his 5th year, and you'd let him sign a new contract in free agency and take the comp pick. Which,
Right.
by the way, he's a 1st rounder, so you get a great comp pick. That weighs in as part of the formula.
Does it? I thought
Yeah.
it was just about the contract on the new
It's
team.
crazy how much the draft, where they were drafted, has a huge amount of weight in the comp pick formula. That's why Keenan Allen didn't have much comp pick value. Kenneth Murray did because he was a former 1st rounder for some reason, right? We drafted him in the 1st round. To wrap up the Believe in Chargers stuff, though, one of the best things that came out of that was the thing that caught my attention the most was there's Matt Money was at OTAs and he got to kind of talk to some of the coaches while OTAs are going on because they get to mill around on the field, right? Kind of talk to people and all that stuff.
Yeah. Throw a ball back when it lands at their feet, you know?
Yeah. And Matt was saying he's like he wouldn't cite names. He's like, I'm not going to throw names out, okay? I'm not going to say who was saying this stuff. But he was like, I was talking to one of the O-line coaches because Zion was taking snaps at center. And that O-line coach said exactly what I've been talking about this whole goddamn time. Was that, look at Zion, look at him. Like if you could draft a fucking center, a Pro Bowl center in the draft, what does he look like? That's exactly, he is, the traits that he has, this is exactly what you would draft. If you had a number 1, if you used a 1st round on a center, what are you looking for? It's frickin' Zion Johnson, traits-wise. exactly what you're looking for. Monster, squatty, intelligence, you know? Like, you're not going to draft a better... That's exactly... The words coming out of the O-line coach's mouth. So, my whole thing this whole off season, especially since the draft and the Chargers them not taking an interior O-lineman or drafting a center of the future, my whole position was that the Chargers have taken a look, like, they're using a lens on Zion Johnson that, like, they didn't take or draft one because they drafted one in-house. They have the guy in-house, and they are approaching Zion's ascension to center as if they are treating him as if he was the draft pick. They're treating him exactly that way. Which, if you're going to, even if you drafted a guy, you'd be doing the same thing. Bozeman's going to take reps. Now there's a week with your draftee taking reps. Like, that's what you would be doing to see if your draftee can ascend the entrenched player.
Yeah.
Like, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, you know, we'll see if Zion wins the job, but I got confirmation yesterday that my position that everybody should be looking at Zion as our drafted center, like that, yeah, that seems to be exactly the way the Chargers are looking at it. And then Money was even going, he was kind of shocked because actually last week Money was saying, hey guys, Bozeman's the starting center. You need to get used to it. Stop coming after Bozeman, just get over it. Like he had thrown in the towel too. And then this week in OTA, Zion's taking the snaps. And so now Money's coming back into this, okay, no, this Zion thing is not fluky. They are giving him a very fair shot to win that job.
Right. And you can't evaluate O-line until...
And then even with that being said from the O-line coach, nobody is still talking about, like, Zion was the fucking draft pick, okay? Like, that's... Nobody's talking about that or saying that or even understanding that. Like, guys, they didn't draft one because they drafted one in-house. That's what they did. That's the way management, Harbaugh and Ortiz, these really smart football people, to them, they did. It's not that they didn't address center. They drafted in-house. That's what they did.
No, they just drafted him 3 years ago.
Yeah, they drafted him 3 years ago. He is their draft pick. That's why they didn't go get one in free agency. Like, and they did, actually, Andre James, to them, is like the failsafe. So to them, they did two things at center, not one.
Well,
like everybody thinks
do in the draft was draft a left guard.
They did draft a guard. That's also something else that came out in Money's podcast was that the tackle that they took in the draft, they think they got one there. Like, they're telling people, don't sleep on that dude. He had an injury. Had he not had that injury in his senior year, like, that guy would have been drafted in day 2. He was a day 2 guy. And he's a big dude. He played tackle, but they believe he can be a guard because we already have tackles. And they've already been, that guy has been, I believe he's been getting first team rotation at left guard.
Okay.
And so far in camp, that's what one of the O-line guys said, is like, don't sleep on that dude. That dude's like looking like he's going to compete. He's Of all the new guys on the line, that guy is like, he's the dark horse that could make the line. You know what I mean? The starting line. Like, they think that guy is in contention as a dark horse, as a rookie, to take that left guard spot.
There you go.
Maybe over Bozeman. Because Bozeman's been working at left guard. But I mean, the Chargers could, here's the theory. If Zion ascends and you end up getting a higher floor and ceiling out of Zion at center, which is all the Chargers fucking need, okay? And then say this rookie ascends to left guard. Now all of a sudden, like, the Chargers have Bozeman as their well-paid backup, who's a serviceable, legit starter with lots of experience, who can play guard and center. You've got Trey Pipkins and Sawyer that can play all positions on the whole freaking line, have played all positions on the line at this point, except for center. And then the Chargers have a backup, Andre James, who was a Pro Bowl center himself at one point. Like, the Chargers are deep as fuck now, if these guys ascend. And they might have an elite line. So the O-line concerns that, like, we as Chargers fans have, which are substantial and not unwarranted, okay? They're not unwarranted. Because that was my nightmare. This could dissipate. And I mean, this happened last year with the defensive interior line. Last year, everybody was freaking out, all the fans. Oh my God, what are we going to do in interior line? We ain't got nobody. Our line is fucked. And then all of a sudden, we had one of the better defensive interiors in the league. Ortiz and Harbaugh were real quiet and calm. While Charger fans were freaking out during training camp and OTAs and the whole deal. Freaking out. And Charger and Harbaugh and Ortiz are like, hey, we feel like we're good there. And we're going, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. And then sure as shit, the squad comes out as one of the better squads. As a strength of the defense.
Yeah.
It was one of the strongest units on the defense. So, you know, at this point, we might have to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. They've earned a little bit. Like, Charger fans, we may not need to be as freaked out as we are about the interior O-line. Despite OTA starting with the exact lineup that we had last season, that we're just like, no! No!
Yeah. I mean,
not again.
You can't judge the trenches in OTAs. It's not fair.
Matt Money did another nugget was, I think Matt Money came to, you know, he really wanted to pick the brains of the O-line. Like, you know, I think he spent a lot of time over there. Because Charger fans, like I said, have just been like, Money's like, dude, Charger fans are really concerned about this. Like, all my emails are about the O-line, okay? All the comments I got to deal with, it's all about the O-line, right? So he really set out to kind of see what's up, you know? And he did ask them directly he did ask them directly, so I think he basically told them that exactly, like, hey, Charger fans are freaking out on the O-line. Like, is this unit improved? Is it improved enough?
Yeah.
And this O-line coach was emphatic that, like, no, this unit is way better than it was last year, okay? I know there's a lot of familiar faces on it, but this unit is way better. Like, that, you know. I mean, because again, too, it's just something that I always go back to. Like, there's no way that Harbaugh and Ortiz watched that Houston tape and the miscommunications on the line and what it cost us on offense. There's no way they watched that fucking tape and weren't like, this gets fixed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way Harbaugh sits in there and says, oh, let's be soft on this. You know? Like, no. This situation is getting fucking fixed this offseason right fucking now. You know? I can't see Harbaugh saying anything less than that, and Ortiz completely agree with him, you know? Another nugget from the O-line. This O-line coach that he was talking to said Joe Alt is no longer a man-child. He's becoming a man.
Ugh.
I mean, he was 21 last season.
Right.
So he's going to be 22 now. He's 22, and so that man muscle's coming in.
Well, and he got the NFL offseason.
And he got the NFL offseason with Herbert. He has put on some more muscle weight. He added about 10 pounds of muscle weight. He's 330. And this O-line coach, I mean, he wasn't even asked about all. Like, he was telling Matt, he's like, dude, Joe Alt is going to wreck the NFL next season. Like, that guy, he got done with that Houston game, which was arguably Joe's worst game ever that he's ever played. I don't know if we talked about that, but Joe Alt had one of the best rookie seasons as a tackle you could ever have, as he should have. That's what he was projected to do.
Right. As
a generational talent and a 4th overall pick, right? Or 5th overall pick. But that Houston game, like, he was just like, nah, never again. That really put a chip on his shoulder. And this coach said that Joe went back and watched right when the offseason finished, he went back and watched every play that he made the entire year last year.
He got himself a Rocky montage?
Yes. He went Rocky montage. Very much. I love that, Pete. Thank you. That's exactly what he pulled. Yeah. Rocky montage. Analyzed every play, where he got beat, how he got beat, how do I make sure this disappears, completely fucking disappears. And worked on it the entire offseason, put on some more man muscle, and he's next to Mekhi Becton. And actually the big thing that the biggest part of his game, he was just like run blocking. He's like, we are going to pave. Him and Becton are going to pave. Like, Joe Alt's run game, his run blocking, like, that was the big one. He's just like, I'm going to be like one of the gnarliest run blockers in the league. Like,
right.
So, that duo of Becton and Alt could be crazy nasty. Like, they might just be at the point where it's just like, we run to the right. The defense knows they're going to run to the right behind Alt and Becton, and like the team can't do anything about it. It's 700 pounds of first round beef, just paving beef. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got the fullback Matlock, who's 300 pounds, who's on his second year. You know what I mean? Running off to the right. with Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton back there, like, it's as nasty as it gets, size-wise, right? So, super fired up about that. I wasn't expecting to hear that Joe Alt is coming back with a vengeance this year, because he had such a good year the first year, right?
Right.
No, apparently Alt's
But,
pissed.
I mean, everybody only remembers the Houston playoff game.
Apparently Alt is pissed and plans to let the league know who the fuck, as if they don't know who he is already. Like, he plans to pull Elaine Johnson. Like, nah, you're gonna know who I am. I was a rookie last year. Now I'm out to cement myself as one of the nastiest dudes in the league. Like, I'm coming to ruffle feathers.
Now I'm a man.
I'm coming to be. Joe Alt plans to bring it. So anyway, that's my big Charger news right there. There was big stuff in that Believe podcast. One of the better episodes I've watched.
Nice.
Because Matt went in there and got some good stuff from the coaches, you know?
Right.
I hadn't really figured that out in my mind, the whole kind of, if Zion ascends and then this dude we drafted ascends, like what that looks like. Because nobody's talking about that either, about this tackle ascending into left guard, you know? That's a serious dark horse. I think that's our hour.
Yeah.
Let me see what we put up here. Oh yeah, 57 minutes.
All right.
All right, y'all. We're gonna call that a pod. Like and subscribe. Do it. Otherwise, you're gonna turn me into Matty Dubs, okay? And I'm gonna have to like talk to you about liking and subscribing in between every little section of like Charger details that we give you, or Patriots details. Like, we're gonna start just plugging the shit out of it, okay? So you better like and subscribe. We've got like 21 subscribers, Pete. I don't know where they came from. Bye-bye now.